Hi folks, I think it's time we had an honest conversation. My, you know what? Come a little closer. Hey guys, and welcome to my vlog. Today I want to have an honest conversation with all of you out there. Basically, the long and short of it is that my experience with 120 film, the first time I shot 120 film, was not a very pleasant experience. And I want to have a conversation with you guys so you know what to look out for. For those of you that are looking to transition into film photography, I think that you need to know some of the pitfalls of going to 120 film. My goal really is to encourage first timers to start with 35mm film, which is actually quite nice. It's a really wonderful experience. 120 film requires a bit more expertise and a bit more commitment and a bit more experience to deal with. For me, I'm not going to let this discourage me. I expected to waste at least one roll of film, and I did practically waste one roll of film yesterday when I tried to get into this. And I'm going to break down some of the shortcomings, some of the things that I learned along the way. Um, First of all, the camera. Let's start with the camera. So I bought this Agfa Isolette camera, and I've shared that in my previous vlogs. When I got this camera, everything else seemed to work pretty well. The only issue with the camera was that the range finder dial was stuck. So I did some, I took it out, I unscrewed it and exposed it, and I figured that the screw was stuck, because the way it works is that as you turn the dial, it basically changes the distance between the lens and the subject, and the lens and the film, right? So relative to how you move it, your focus changes, your focus distance changes, right? And I think there's something wrong with the threading inside the camera body itself, so it got stuck in there. So when I adjusted it, I thought I had adjusted it properly, but I think I went one revolution too many, so I made it a bit too loose than it was supposed to be. So what I ended up with was really out of focus shots, and I'm going to show some of the shots right here. Yeah, so you can see that here are a couple shots from my shoot yesterday. Quite blurry. So the focus is out of whack, and you can see some double exposures, multiple exposures for the one on the left. The ironic thing is that the scene was just perfect. It was such a perfect scene. And another thing that I also learned, if you take a look at the one, this one here on the right, is you will notice that the landscape is technically I would have wanted to capture more of the top of the trees, but I could not capture that because of the parallax effect. So I'm looking through the viewing lens of the Agfa Isolette, and what's happening there is that the taken lens is actually lower, so I wasn't quite capturing that. So next time I'm gonna have to compensate for that effect, and that's for you guys to know that what you see is actually not what you get. And here are some others that I took. These are totally out of focus and totally unusable, I guess. Some people may like the aesthetics of this, but for me, I'm disappointed. I think I could have done way better. So the camera had an issue, right? And so that was kind of a I had several issues shooting with that camera. Also, a couple of them were that the shutter was a bit too easy to set off. Once you cock the shutter, it's so easy to fire it when you're trying to change the setting. So I had to figure out how to sequence my workflow to allow that to be at the very last step, right? And I discussed that in my previous videos. The other thing that I also had to learn was the hard way was the dial for the aperture was also in a very odd place, and I discussed that in my review video for the Agfa Isolate 1 as well. And that sort of so I think I got a few multiple exposures in the beginning of my roll, at the start of the roll, and but that was fine, you know. It's not too bad. The other bit of the challenge that I had was in the darkroom. When I took, first of all, I'm not familiar with this. I've been shooting 35 millimeters, and I can do 35 millimeters pretty much in my sleep. It's really, I've become so used to it, and I started with color photography, so that's become second nature to me. So going to black and white was actually quite easy with 35 millimeters. However, going to 120 in the darkroom, it's just so awkward having to take off the backing and trying to find trying to get it onto the spool for the Patterson tank was quite awkward. It took me over 30 minutes, easily over 30 minutes, just trying to figure out how this thing goes on. Every time I put it on, it will get undone, and it was so frustrating. Because I'm using panchromatic film, I could not have any red light safe lights in there, so it was very frustrating. Eventually I figured out a technique, which was really to use the fingers to sort of gently control the movement of the film on the reel. So what I did was, as you spin it, technically with the 35 millimeters, once you spin, you don't even have to touch the film. It just keeps moving through the spiral, right? But with this one, you have to gently caress it as you move it, as you spin it, to sort of move it in that direction with your fingers to touch the film in the middle of the film. And that was an experience I developed yesterday after many frustrating tries. So I figured that part out eventually, and then I had some other issues with the tank that I was using. It's a different tank from what I usually use for my 35 millimeters. I figured out after the fact. First of all, when I tried to pour out the chemicals wouldn't really pour out. They would stay in there, and I had to go in the dark room and pour it out with the funnel, and that was frustrating. And after the fact, I figured out that you have to almost twist the lid a bit to allow some air, but not light, to come through, to relieve the pressure in there, to allow the liquid to come out. So yeah, that was quite the experience, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. And then after I finished developing the film, I find out that, you know, all my shots are out of focus, and I was like, oh man. So yeah, that was pretty frustrating last night, but it was a fitting experience. I think this is absolutely and totally fine to go through something like this, so you learn the ropes. You basically learn what you're doing wrong and what you should not do the next time. So another thing I'm doing next time is for me, I'm committed, so I'm really into this. I'm not going to let an experience like that defeat me or to turn me away from the love of this, because I'm actually really going to get into this. And I am going to be using my I think I'm going to my next photo shoot. I'm actually going out with my drone and with my cameras, and I'm going to uh, basically document the experience. I'm going out with my big camera. I'm going out with the camera that I was gifted with, and that would be the Mamiya M645. So that's my plan. My plan is to go out with that camera. I want to really get into it. Now that I've had an experience in the dark room and with the 120 film, I don't want to take any more chances. I'm going to fix the Agfa Isolette 120. I'm going to figure out a way to fix that threading to make the focusing work better, but that's for another day. But I'm not going to let this discourage me. So I'm going to go with my Mamiya, and I'm going to shoot some film, hopefully today. And I'll share the experience with you guys in another vlog. So my advice to you guys out there, if you're getting into film, certainly start with 35 millimeters. And if you are going to go to 120 millimeters, don't repeat the mistakes that I made. I wish you guys a happy shooting experience if you are planning to go shooting today. I wish you guys a safe day. Thanks for watching my videos. I hope you guys enjoyed the background here. I have my VHS tapes here, and that's really something that I'm going to share at some other time. My VHS collections, which I really like VHS, by the way. I have all formats, but I enjoy the physical formats, hence the name of this channel, Analog Life. Thank you guys for supporting me by watching my videos. I hope you guys subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It's kind of important to me. It's encouraging, right, to get more subscribers. And also do click the like button and do share my videos if you feel there's somebody that needs to watch this. But thank you, and have a wonderful day, guys. Okay, bye bye.